Okay, everybody, we're live again, and hopefully you guys can see me, hear me. I got my screen all set up, and there's a bit of a delay. And again, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. I'd love to answer those in a second, at the end probably. So um, today I'm going to run through. Today I'm going to run through a couple of things. Last time we spent a little bit of time together was basically giving an overview of our platform. And there's so much to do in our platform that I want to spend a little bit of time to dive deeper into just a couple of sections of our platform. So that said, I'm going to, you can always find us on lendapi.com. We're easy to find. There's lots of information material on our website. Uh, I've been doing a lot of podcasts lately. Don't forget to check out Matthew Como's from Ogma Risk and Analytics. It's a great episode. And we just pushed out Tommy Cutter from Benzinga. I learned a lot from talking to him. So, anyways, let's get back to the main course here. So, I'm going to log into our demo environment here and just show you around. Let's see. Somebody texting me. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's see. There's at least one of you guys on this live stream. That's okay. No problem. Happy to do this. So we have our dashboard. It's always landing on Agent Dashboard, and Agent Dashboard basically lets you look through all of the applications that are coming through, so you can take a look at whether decisionings are processed correctly, things of that nature. So that's where the starting point is usually. Um, but today I want to get into the rules a little bit, right? Inadvertently, anybody that wants to do application process probably to take a moment to do KYC, know your customer, identity verification, maybe some fraud detection as well before you venture into credit underwriting. So a couple of ways of doing this. The first way is basically go to our rules studio on the left hand side. So we let you write as many rules as you want. Earlier today, the conversation with our one of our credit union clients, and they want to design a single application um, and pull credit, maybe do KYC once and present different products. It could be a checking account, could be a DDA account, could be a credit card, could be a personal loans, could be a HELOC, could be this and that and this. And as you can imagine, every single one of these products, from checking account all the way to HELOC, may require different sets of rules, different sets of pricing, and to a certain extent, different types of third-party integrations that you want to pull to get maybe auto loan verified off the VIN number and or CoreLogic, right, to verify the address and things of that nature. So for each one of these banks, you can have their own rule sets, and drive the experience a little bit differently, right? So in a couple more releases, we're going to release more features in our flow builder. So that's where you can build all these flow, right? One application comes in, you can direct traffic into different places. And these places could be a different experience, could be a different product that you want to go down on. So to write rules, um, I'll show you a couple of ways of writing rules. The first one is just manually adding rules. So I'm going to go into add rules, this purple button on the top right-hand corner. I'm going to say credit underwriting rule, credit underwriting rule, simple. And you can say this is a demo rule set on maybe 26. And I'm going to hit add rules. And it's going to bring me into this canvas kind of an experience, right? On the top here is uh, rule library, right? And this credit under rule simple is one we're working on right now. On the right hand side, we have multiple things where you can assign this rule set to a tenant, meaning that you can actually have each one of your merchants, for example, run different sets of rules, or this rule could be attached to any of the products that you want to link to. Also, when a rule reaches a approval decision, other than a checking account, you probably want to tie it to a pricing engine, meaning that if it's a credit card, you probably want to load the approved amount, the credit balance, and maybe the introductory APR and things of that nature, fees, for example. And if it's a close-ended um, installment loan, for example, you probably want to have terms and interest rates and fees and APRs and all that stuff displayed, linked to a pricing engine. So today we're just going to focus on a simple set of rules. I'm going to show you how these things kind of work. And we have some other conditions where you can run all of the rule nodes as opposed to just run all the happy path, if you will. So clients want to run all possibilities, even if an application is approved, just to try out all the ligaments of the rule. So in the middle here is our canvas here, so you can sort of zoom in, zoom out, right, depending on how much you want to see in the field. There are some buttons over here for you to again zoom in and out of the canvas. So the starting point, I'm clicking on it and dragging it around. The starting point is could be the beginning of the API call, or you could tie this to a certain page in the application process. This could be on page 2, page 3. As long as I have enough information to trigger this rule. And the first node here, so that's where you're going to make the first decision, basically. So I clicked on it. You can see the right-hand side sort of changes. You can add nodes to it and things like that. But more importantly, what you could do is that you could double-click on it, and it's going to bring up a dialog box, right? So this will say, give you the chance of change the node type. It could be a rule. It could be an action. And you can give a non-default title. So for example, this one I want to do maybe a FICO check, FICO version 10 score check. Okay, so I'm going to make this as a rule, and in the rule block, this is where you can go in and click on the select variable. And this select variable will grab the entire sort of a library of variables in the system. So if you got 10, 20, 30, maybe 100 different integration partners already plugged in, it'll show you all of these. If you only have one bureau, it's going to show you whatever. And if you have designed an application already in our product studio and there are certain variables that you've built in the model studio, they'll show up here. So just about everything that is in the system fed in through first party, the client themselves, and or third party from the credit bureaus are all available for by rule. So since we're talking about FICO 10, so I'm going to do, see if I can find FICO. So I just simply typed in the word FICO, and you can see that we're getting FICO scores from whichever places, TransUnion, Equifax, maybe some aggregate resellers, right? Whomever has got the word FICO in it, whichever variable displayed here. But I'm only interested in FICO 10. Let's see if I type in FICO 10. So now it whittled it down to Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Our friends at CRX has a version of their FICO score. So today I'm going to use Equifax EQ underscore FICO 10 underscore score. So I selected this variable, right? And then it's going to initiate the comparison. So it's equal to, less than, null, right? If it's a categorical variable, and it'll sort of in real time write out the statement for you as well. So I'm going to say Equifax FICO score greater than equal to, and we use a static value of 700, right? So typing, you can see that on the bottom here is it's actually writing the rule in somewhat of a natural that language. Equifax FICO 10 is greater than or equal to 100. So it's going to give me um, left or right hand side depending on whether it meets this condition. So I'm going to keep it simple on this uh, live show. So I'm just going to say update, and it's going to refresh the canvas and show this rule. So I'm click on this rule again, and remember what I've typed in. It repeated this natural expression. Equifax FICO 10 score is greater than or equal to 700. I can again double click into it. If I want to make a change to 680, I'm happy to do that. I'm going to say update. Again, it's going to do the refresh, and it remembers all the things that I've changed. So the next step is basically what happens, right? If it meets certain condition. Put some notes in here. Tim made this rule 6, right? So I can put this little note in here. So I'm going to click on this plus button, and when I cross this button, it's going to automatically give me the bifurcation of the side. So watch. So I just click on the plus button, and these are deterministic rules. So what it's doing is that it's going to show you the yes pass, meaning that if it passes a rule, right, vis-a-vis that if the score from Equifax of this applicant, right, FICO 10 passes 680, is going to go down this route. If it doesn't, it's going to go down this route. If it's declined or doesn't pass, right? So we'll leave that to the side for a second. You can see that it's hanging off another plus sign, basically signifies you can just keep on doing this forever. So on the right hand side is my yes note. So I'm going to double click onto this, and I can make a decision, right? I can say, you know what, I'm just going to end it right here, meaning that it's going to take an action of approve, decline, or review, or needs additional document, or I can keep on going. I can make another set of decisions based on this decision path. So I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to check another score. I'm going to use Vantage for V4 score chart check. Right, make this a rule type. And here, again, I'm sorting through all of the library or variable library. So, but this time I'm interested to do a double take on Vantage 4. So I typed in the word Vantage, right? It's it search for all of the library and get information on Vantage. But I also typed in Vantage 4. So you can see that there are multiple Vantages, right? Vantage 4. So here I'm going to use the Vantage 4 score from TransUnion. How about? And I'm going to use the same kind of comparison here is greater than or equal to. Before this rule, I've stated to use FICO 10 from Equifax, and the score was equal greater to 680. So here I'm using Vantage 4, slightly different score. The score numbers are sort of similar, but not exactly for a different episode. So I'm going to say 100. So again, as I'm typing, right, you can see the rules are writing itself. Let's say update. Right. So now it just gave me another rule, basically checking for FICO 10, right? So this is checking for Vantage 4. So this is the rule after FICO 10 check. Whatever you want to do here. If it gets declined, right on this route, I will do the same thing. Maybe I'll do some cash flow scoring rules, right? So I'm going to make up a rule, and this time, let's say I want to use Plaid, assuming that we have Plaid pulled back right before this rule is being executed. So I type in the word Plaid, and there are a bunch of variables from Plaid. Or there are other type of scores you can use. Let's see, we don't have any max variables, but let's stick with Plaid for example. So I'm going to use Plaid. Let's use available balance or no current balance. So I'm going to say the current balance has got to be greater than equal to, let's just say, let's be generous, $500. So it's writing this rule for me. Update. All right. So I'll make a little note. This is checking. Just make a little note for yourself. So now we feel like, it's got a little bit of a structure to it, right? It has a FICO check. If FICO fails, 680, then we go do a cash flow analysis, checking for a current balance. At least this individual has $500 account. And if it passes this score, it's going to do a little bit more rigorous check on Vantage 4, 700. So got a little bit of structure. So let's move on forward. Let's build another layer. So, and there are some signals on the left-hand side. I'm hovering my mouse over, and it's giving me some warning. It says this rule is not published yet, which is fine because I'm building this stuff. It's giving me some helpful warnings on the left-hand side. So let's say, oh, excuse me. Let's say that we're actually okay with this. And I'm going to make some final sort of decisions, right? Um, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just end it. So I'm going to click on this plus sign. So again, it's going to give me another layer, right? If it passes FICO 10, it passes cash flow, which is Plaid current balance. What do we do, right? So there's another yes, another no kind of a path. So at this point, I'm okay with this. So I'm going to end it. So no longer will I write rules, but I'm going to create an end node. Um, so and here because we are on the left hand side of that FICO 10 rule, I'm going to say near prime end node approval, just to give a simple name. But here I'm going to change this into an action. So as soon as I flip over to action, it's going to give me some of these actions here, right? So I'm going to use approve as the action type. And it's going to ask me to do some outcomes, right? These outcomes are all basically tied to the pricing outcome. So I'm going to say, I'm going to use the prime pricing card. We'll get to another episode on how pricing works. And you notice that there are other selections here. So I can actually trigger another variable, do a comparison. Sometimes at the end of a node, you want to do some additional operations to update a variable, to trigger another variable calculation, or to trigger another derived variable calculation to increment a one or something like that. Or you can chain different rules to the resulting section of this rule. So we're not doing any of that. We're simply given an approval decision and have the tree to knock on the doors of a pricing card, which is called prime. That's also programmed in the pricing decision. So I'm going to update this node. And you can see that the node has changed, right? The flavor of the node is no longer rule. It's an end node, and it says approval. So because we select the approval status. So I'm going to make a note here. Near prime approve node using price card. Yeah, whatever that is. And make sure you save these things, right, as you go, just so you have a record of it. So this node basically ended. And on the left-hand side, if it didn't pass FICO 10, 6, 8, didn't pass the cash flow underwriting rule, which is $500, I'm going to end it here, say decline near, near prime. And I'm going to change that to an action. Of course, I'm going to select as decline, right? So you can also trigger other type of events, even as a decline rule, nothing will happen, but you can trigger other things, calculate another variable, make a direct variable, things like that. But we're going to end it right here. So I'm going to click on update, and it's going to give me an error message. Oh, outcomes required. Great, no problem. So the decline outcomes are different than the approval outcome. So these outcomes doesn't really trigger a pricing algorithm, but what it does, it will trigger a average action notification. So I'm going to select something from the and these outcomes could be managed or configured in our in the view. So I'm going to say if you select action decline, give the credit decline outcome, and this credit decline outcome actually does some work. It'll trigger emails, SMS. It'll immediately send an average action notification to the end client. So I'm going to select this and I'll do the update. Okay, so now organize it a little bit. So this little icon is basically clean up a little bit, right? Because I've been dragging things back and forth. So now this left-hand side is basically fulfilled, right? If it didn't pass FICO 10, it didn't pass cash flow underwriting, gets declined. But if it didn't pass FICO 10, but it did pass cash flow underwriting, it'll give me a good outcome, right? Basically, just me trigger a pricing card, and so I can display that to the front end, whether through an API call or a UI display page, whatever. Congratulations page. So now let's take care of the right hand side, right? So this is essentially now the happy path. So if it passes FICO 10, it passed Vantage 4. So I'm going to add a couple more nodes here. So if it's a pass, here I'm going to say full approval, and I'm going to make that an action, select approve, and maybe I'll use a different same outcome. Update that, and on the left-hand side, what that means is that if it passed FICO 10, if it failed Vantage 4, I can do something a little bit different. So say needs additional document, right? It's good enough on credit, but something is not right. I want to see if we can collect additional document. So I'm going to make that an action. I'm going to choose a different one. I'm going to choose request additional document. And this request additional document also triggers these type of request additional document outcomes. One. So here I'm going to say maybe income unverified, right? So it will trigger this outcome, and this outcome will send out emails and SMS to the applicant to say, hey, look, log into your portal because we create for you already, upload certain documents. And these templates are also configurable in our template agent. So you can create as many as you want. I'm gonna hit update. Oh, it's giving me an error. A decision tree is required. So maybe I need to do something here. Maybe it does need a decisioning process. I'm going to pick a random one and do an update. Okay, so now we have a full-blown decision tree. We started with nothing, then now we have a couple of layers of decisioning process. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. The starting point is the starting point. It's going to do credit score checks. It's going to do credit score and cash flow underwriting checks. And we have all of the end nodes satisfied. Approve, request additional document, or decline, right? All of these end nodes will have an outcome attached to it and triggered. So here we can do a couple of things. We can actually test this decision tree by entering some values. So I'm going to hit the test button. And it's smart enough, right, to know all of the decisioning variables. Like, for example, we picked FICO 10, Equifax, we have current balance, and we have Vantage 4 score from TransUnion. So I'm going to say, because I wrote the rules, I'm going to say 800 because the first check was 680, and this balance is 1,000. Almost doesn't matter because I'm going to go to the right hand side, and this bench four, I want to say 850. Right. So this way, it's guaranteeing an approval. So I'm going to hit the button run, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. You can see that it's highlighting the path that this test went through. Right. It's going all the way to the right hand side. It's got a full approval. But if I fork here, if I change something here, Vantage 4, so the check was, some 100 or something like that. So I'm gonna say 500. The expectation is I'm gonna go through this route. So let's hit it again, run. So now it's giving me a orange color, if you will, for the residential document, right? It's not declined, it's not approved, but it needs some information here. But let's test out the other side. So we're going to leave the Equifax score untouched. We're going to leave the cash flow untouched. Oh, actually, we do need to change this, right, to something lower. So 600. So it's going to go to this path. It's going to pass the Plaid check. So this venture score doesn't really matter now because we're going to the left-hand side. So the expectation is that's going to go and get approval, a green highlighted. So I'm going to click on run. And it's sure enough, it went through the approval says it passed the FICO score. It didn't pass the FICO score 10 check because it was 600. The check was 680, but it did pass my cash flow, which is $500. 1,000. Eventually resulted in the approval decision, although it was on the left-hand side. Probably got a less than ideal offer. And the full decline, basically, I just need to put this under 500. So let's just do 599. And when we run that, it got a red line, basically. It got a decline. So that all looks okay, right? At least the math checks out, right? Again, these are arbitrary numbers I'm putting in here just to make sure the math works. It's going to give me actions and outcome IDs for those that want to do an API call. So, that's the most basic foundation of this stuff. When you're ready to go, remember this thing right here. It says rule is not published. We saved it, we tested it, and now we're ready to submit for approval. If you have enough permission based on your profile, you can approve this yourself. Otherwise, we build these multi-layer process. So I'm going to say, hey, this is Tim, I built it, tested it, and it's ready for approval. And I'm going to hit submit. So, so now that it's under pending approval, some higher level god will get an email when they log in, they can approve this. So, and I can still test and things like that. But man, this tool is smart enough to know that it's using Plaid, it's using Equifax, it's using TransUnion because we use all of this stuff. We also have a vert process. So every time I make a change, which I'm going to do in a second, it version create a whole new version, and that is because everything we do here is logged by law. We have to later, or even the internal auditors that applications, older applications, if you will, used a version, certain version of the underwriting rule. And if you make changes, we shouldn't touch any of that historical facts. So only new applications are being used with version of the rule. So we keep everything in sync so it matches. So if you do some kind of auditing investigation, go all the way to into history. So there's the approve button. So apparently I do have enough permission to approve this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the approve button. And I'm going to say, this is also Tim. I guess I have enough permission to approve rules. So if I don't have permission, I'm just an analyst. Right? So you wouldn't have this button and someone else had to log in and approve this. And we can set this version as the default version, and we'll approve this. So now this rule is fully approved and it's ready to go. So I can click on this eyeball, review the rules, or I can go back to edit. Let's see what happens when I click on this eyeball. It's going to give me the rules itself. And because we just promoted this rule into production, I'm going to hit the API key, and this rule basically is ready to go, right? It's got a rule node. It's got the input that it needs to run the rules. Then, of course, you got to get some token from the settings section to execute this API. But I'm going to come back here and show you a couple more things. Let's say that I want to build more flow here on the right-hand side. Okay, so I'm going to cancel these two guys here. Get rid of these, the right-hand side. And I'm going to add a new layer. And so if it passes these two scores, I'm going to do one more thing. So I'm going to do additional custom score check. Somebody built a really nice custom score. So how about we use one of our buddies, right? AI model 1_score. Let's just change that to custom score. Build AI greater than or equal to 600. Okay. And I'm going to hit update. So again, it's going to create this test score with notes in here. AI model score. And continue on. And so after this, then note action, full approval, approve, make that into a and do an update, right? So this is fully approved after the custom score. And if it's a no, then what we will do, I'm just going to do a decline. How about that? Score decline. Make it an action. We're going to do decline and send out this credit decline average action notification. Okay, let's save that real quick. So now I'm going to work on this node 7. So this node 7 is basically if it gets declined by test, I'm going to just say it ends right here. Node and declined. Pick a credit decline. That's it. So I've added another layer of SAS AI Model 1, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to submit for approval. I added SAS score to this rule set. Approve, submit. And I'm going to go back to our versioning process. You can see that a new version has been created. And I will approve this as well. Approved. Go. Good job. I have myself on the shoulder. So I'm going to uncheck this for now. I'm just going to approve this. So I approved the new version, but it's not promoted all the way to default. So applications are still using the previously approved rule set that we did before. So what we're going to do is that we're going to actually set this one to default. And while we're done, so if you click on API again, you can see that there's a SAS AI Model 1 score parameter in the new API. So if there were applications being run on v1, that will get preserved, right? So if you go to the eyeball, you can see that it doesn't have that additional layer. But if I go into the eyeball of the newly created, added, you can see the additional layer. Right. So I'm going to run this test again just to show you that we have this considered as well. So if you pass this matter, pass this one as well, and a custom 406 600, so I'm going to put 700. So my expectation is going to go all the way to the right hand side, and in fact it did. It painted the green to the right hand side. So this is as basic of a walkthrough as today's time allows. I know we scheduled this for an hour, but I think 30, 35 minutes is probably good enough for everybody to get a taste of what this is. We will post this into our YouTube channel in case somebody missed this opportunity to spend time with us. Let me just check to see if there's any questions. All right, no questions. And there's 6 viewers. My God, everybody gets a medal. I love feedback. If you can let me know what's going on, good, bad, what do you want to see? Let me know. Uh, so it's a parting gift. I'm gonna do this in a minute. So I'm gonna go back and use our Arc AI tool. I'm gonna say, please build me a writing strategy based on Fast AI, TransUnion, and Equifax, FICO, Vantage scores. So I got lazy today, so I'm just going to ask our AI tool, see if they can do this. So our trusty Arc AI is going out there, looking through all of the variables that we have in our MCP layer or library, and is grabbing variables, right? It says uh, grabbing variables that it knows. And if it doesn't recognize something, it's going to create some variables for me or it knows. It found some score, TransUnion, and you can see it's going through a pretty interesting process, right? So it found some AI scores and it started building, right? 620, there's not too dissimilar what I was doing. So if you're counting the clock, it's uh, it's uh, it's probably taken a minute or two to do this. So this and it's creating the decision tree batch now. So if you don't want to do what I just did, manually sort of retaining all the nodes and nodes and things like that, you can feel free to use our AI tool to kind of get you get you something going on here, right? So looks like it's done. Super detailed here. So looks like done, and I can click on this open studio. And my God, okay, so it did what I was doing, probably in a even better kind of a format. Uh, did everything here pending approval. My God, so let's see, yeah, so it's ready to be approved. Look at that. I can be replaced. But, this way, it'll help you get things started, so you don't have to go scratch your head. What do I start? So it's going to give you some framework, at least the training thing. So anyways, thank you for sitting through this. Again, I'm going to put this into an Academy video. Um, this is a little bit low pressure. I'm not doing a demo to make a sale. Hopefully, everybody got a gist of what's happening here in our, just a small portion of what we do for banks, credit unions, and financial services companies. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop the